What's up, guys? Wow, what a race. That was unbelievable. That performance by Jet and Tim Geiser in that last moto had me on the edge of my seat. I kept thinking of what was at stake. It was unbelievable. So the show is presented by Nano-Extreme. If you guys have arthritis, aches and pains, I know you do because I do. This stuff is amazing. It's got a new technology. It works similar to like Salon Paws and some of the different pain relievers, but it's better. They have this like nanotechnology, so it gets to places that stuff won't, and it actually decreases the inflammation. My shoulder hasn't felt this good in years. I almost think I could actually throw a pitch again. Head over to Nano-Extreme. Use code COOKSY at checkout and get your buy one, get one free. The only catch is you got to put 2 in the cart or it will kick it back. If you put 1 thinking they'll add 1, it won't. You put 2 in your cart and at checkout, use code COOKSY and it will do one of them for free. And then head over to the Coach Rob store. If you want to ever wondered, like you sweat a whole bunch when you're working out, how much water do I need to drink to replenish that? He's got a sweat rate calculator. He'll get the optimum performance out of you 100%. So head over to the Coach Rob store. And don't forget, everybody who joins up as a member is already registered. You are entered to win the custom painted CRS 6D helmet. This will be given away right before Supercross. And then once we draw a winner, then I'm gonna go ahead and contact you. We'll get your size and we'll have that thing custom painted and sent out to you. But anyone who joins as a member is automatically entered. All right, let's talk some racing.
You need people like me so you can point your fucking fingers and say, that's the bad guy.
Congratulations to Australia. Honestly, if there was a team I could cheer for that wasn't my own, it's Australia. They got 2 guys that race over here in the United States. I just hung out with all my Aussie buddies, Mark Savage and the crew in Thailand. Australia has a soft spot in my heart. I was so happy to see them finally get a victory in this race. They've had so many great riders throughout the years, the Moss brothers, Chad Reed, Jeff Leask, and for them to not ever have had a win, it seems wild that somewhere they didn't squeak in a victory. But now they've got guys, 2 brothers, and then they just needed a 3rd guy to step up, and Kyle Webster did that for him. This race has so many moving parts. There's so many different things can go wrong. You got 3 riders, they're pitted out of different rigs and separate teams. It's a really weird atmosphere. When they were walking through the pits and showing like that, you know, the KTM, Aaron Plessinger's pitted with Jeffrey Hurlings. It really was weird to me, and I don't understand quite how that works, and it kind of takes away from the whole team dynamic, seeing Jeffrey Hurlings and Aaron Plessinger in the same truck together. Are they truly sharing all the information? It seems a little weird to me. But with all those variables, often the best team doesn't end up getting the victory. They did today. The Lawrence brothers and Kyle Webster were the best riders out there. That was the best team, and the best team got the victory today. Jet rode out of his mind. Dude is a freak, or at least Hunter calls him a freak. He's like, dude, he's a freak. We know it. And he is, and he's not wrong. Jet put on a ride that was just unbelievable. Hunter rode so solid, but I did question, I was bewildered that they had Hunter in the MX1 class. I was like, wait a second, shouldn't he be an open? Because you have to race the faster guys, and I think you put your fastest guy in that class. They didn't do it. They put Jet in the open and him in the MX1. I was like, oh my gosh, tell me that move isn't going to cost them the championship. And it didn't. So I can't question it because it worked, but I would have still put Jet in the MX1 and I would have put Hunter in open. As great as the 2 Lawrence brothers rode, and they rode unbelievable. They might be the 2 best motocross riders on the planet right now. Of course, I know Tim Geiser, there's other guys, but you could make that argument that they're the 2 best in the world right now, and it's a legitimate argument. With that said, the pressure on this event was Kyle Webster. Kyle Webster can only lose this. So everybody knows the 2 Lawrence brothers are gonna give you 4 good motos. You just need 1 more that's decent. And he had to ride a 250 against 450s in that first MX1 250 moto. And they're scored, you're not scored against the 250s. So if like Kai de Wolf and Lucas Kunin are flying and they're in 5th and he's in 15th, but he's the second 250, it still counts as a 15 against your score. So you have to race the 450s every bit as hard as you do your own class. And to ask this guy, Kyle Webster, to ride the 250 against these world-class, Kai de Wolf, the reigning champion, Tom Vial, a 2-time GP champion, Cooper Webb, and all these great riders, and mix in all these high-level 450 guys, that's a tall order to get Kyle Webster somebody that I hadn't even heard of until this year, to get a performance that could win the overall result. He did it. He damn well did it. And the pressure, because like I said, he would have been to blame if they didn't win. That's a lot of pressure for one person to handle. For him to do that, I'll tell you what, when he comes here to race again, I won't be asking, who's that Kyle Webster guy? I know exactly who he is. He is now a household name. He is a Des Nations winner. He is a champion. And seeing Australia on the podium with Hurlings on one side and Tomac on the other just gave you an idea of how stacked this field was this year and that they were the best in the world today. But looking at Eli Tomac's face, he went there to win. He didn't go there to get silver. He went there to win and nothing else. Like you could see on his face, he wasn't real happy. Plessinger seemed pretty happy. I don't think he's been on the podium at a Des Nations before. The other two guys, Webb and Tomac, wanted that victory very badly, and they just didn't get it. They just weren't the best team today. That last moto, that battle between Jet and Tim Geiser was epic. Those two dudes put it on the line. And it was terrifying because I knew if Jet throws it away, he throws away the entire victory for all of Australia. There was so much riding on him. Geiser, whatever. He crashes. He crashes a lot. They call him No Visor Geiser because he's full send. That's what he does. But for Jet to step up and battle him and go side by side for that many laps, and if you don't think Jet was pushing, did you see him on that downhill panic revving? I would have thought maybe, okay, at that point, I go, okay, you know what? Let me back it down. I'm just going to take second, and hopefully that's enough for the victory. Nope. Jet's a crazy talent, and he wasn't going to settle for second. He gets by Geiser, and then Geiser comes back on him. And then in the second to last turn, Jet goes in there with a pretty big gap on Geiser. I don't think he thought that Geiser would come in there, but he came in there to kill him. The way Geiser came in off that double and just pinned it into that inside, he was either going to take out Jet, take out both of them, or Jet was going to check up. He was not, there was no other options than that. And as brilliant a move as that was, it might have been even better that Jet was able to anticipate it, hit the brakes, not go down, and save the championship for Team Australia. I hate to think how Geiser would be treated when he goes to Australia. Had he taken Jet out, that would have been horrific. He probably would have had to skip that GP because he wouldn't have been safe. But you guys always hear me talking about when a guy gets cleaned out by Anderson or Barsha, and I say, no, that guy should have checked up. They should have done exactly what Jet did. And that's when I refer to that, when a guy takes you out, that guy took you out. But the guy who gets taken out has a certain amount of responsibility to avoid it. They can always check up. They can do specific things. Every situation's a little bit different, but that's a perfect example of when I say, hey, that dude should have checked up. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about being aware of your surroundings, being aware of who's to your inside, and knowing there's a chance they're going to bonsai in. If Barsha or Anderson's behind me, you always have to be aware and check your blind spot because they will come in at any time. And you got to be able to check up if you have to, or you just take the inside and defend. So that was brilliant by Jet to be able to avoid contact or avoid crashing after that. But it was an aggressive move. And I can tell you what, he did not seem happy about it. And it's a situation where he's got everything on the line. He's battling for the team championship. Geiser, nothing to lose. He's playing with house money. And I promise you, Jet will remember that. If there's a situation in the future, he owes Geiser one big time because Geiser took advantage of the situation and he knew there's no way this guy won't check up with that much on the line. And if he doesn't, oh well. Jet will get back at him at some point. If he comes over to the US, maybe Jet will come over. Let's see how Geiser handles it when Jet comes over for a final GP when he's trying to win a championship and Jet has nothing on the line. I know they both ride for Team Honda, but things change. Trust me, it's in the memory banks, and if the opportunity presents itself, Jet will get him back. Check out Epic Garage Designs. Travis Ogburn is a mad scientist when it comes to building garages and making them look like a Barrett Jackson showroom. He's got floors, cabinets, slat wall. Go over to Epic Garage Designs and just order some slat wall. You'll be shocked at how much you'll get organized just by hanging slat wall. EpicGarageDesigns.com. Head over to Ride Strapped. If you're feeling patriotic, get yourself some Patriot goggles. Ride Strapped is a great company, and if you want to click the link in the description, the GoFundMe account, I will send you if you donate over $20, I'll send you one of the free Cooksey shirts. We're doing a run, and then we'll do another run until I get the merch shop up. I got to talk to Chris about that. We might just put the merch shop. I have some ideas on how to do that, but I suck at getting merch out and doing all that. I know that there's an opportunity and I should be doing it, but I got to talk to my buddy Chris. He's a lot smarter when it comes to that stuff. So head over to Ride Strapped, get your patriotic goggles. Hit up Precision Transport. If you're shipping anything, Precision Transport is a shipping company that still values good pricing and customer service. Hit up pretransport.com and the Madden family will take care of you. Team USA, what a great performance. And to quote Cal Naughton Jr., nothing wrong with silver. With that said, Eli wanted that win bad. He really wanted it. He knows that there's not that many left in his career, and Webb wants one of these before he's done. I don't think Webb's ever been on a winning team. Tomac's got one, but I don't think Webb does, and that's the first time Plessinger was on the podium. Could you guys imagine if we had a team with Sexton, Tomac, and Deegan? We'd have stomped everybody. That would have been no problem, barring any of the crazy things that happen at the designations, but we would have had the best team on paper if we sent those three. Problem is you can't ask these guys to do this every single year. And we see that with like Prado not caring as much as he should. Prado just won the world championship last week. You could see he had that championship hangover. He's like, you want me to ride again next week after I just won this world championship? Last thing he wants to do is get hurt before he comes to America and joins Team Kawasaki. That would really mess up his offseason. And poor Lucas Kunin, I mean, that's what happens. Him and Fevre, everyone goes, oh, they're hurt, but it's just the offseason. I don't think you understand how much that affects somebody's career development. I did that interview with Vince Friese last week, and he said every offseason he takes a break, resets, and he gets better in the offseason. You learn new things. You can try different stuff. When you get that break, that's when you add to your toolbox. You add skills. You add endurance. You add something new in the offseason. But if you're injured, you don't get to do that. You're just trying to get back to where you were when you left. You don't get to get better. And you don't get your vacation because you're injured, you're doing rehab. Then you enter the new season behind already, and then you got to make it up through 31 races. It's brutal. So I don't blame Jorge Prado for not going 110% like Geyser and Jet. It is what it is, man. But that's why I think we should only have the race every couple years, every 3 years, every 2 years, or every 4 years. Because then it would give it more anticipation. It would have a meaning. They'd be like, well, there isn't one next year. We got to do it this year. So everyone would give a bigger effort. But we all know it's all about money. I really thought with the way Kai de Wolf was riding in that 250, the first moto, I was like, oh, and then Hurlings went down, but I'm like, I still think they're going to win this thing because Hurlings could easily pull it out, especially when he saw how good Kai de Wolf was riding. But man, Glenn Holdenhoff, that was my worry. That was their weak guy, and he did kind of stink it up. You're just not going to win the overall with 14, 15 moto finishes by an open rider. You've got to have better finishes than that. You can get away with it sometimes with the 250 rider with one, but you can't have an open rider. You got to have an open rider that gets you single digits. France, they always do really good at this race, and they were in it. They were in it until that last moto, and then, disaster struck. Renault rode really well. Tom Vial did good in the second moto. He kind of stunk it up in the first moto, but they have a throwaway, so it wasn't the end of the world. But then when Fevre went down in that last moto, that really hurt them. And speaking of money in this sport, it creeps me out that the Luongos and Feld and MX Sports are all partnering to squeeze every damn dime out of this sport and just work everybody. Next year, the MX Destinations will be at Ironman, which is kind of cool. I love that it's in America, but that is a Coombs owned facility. Of course, they're going to rake in the dough on that, and that's why they're playing nice. But seeing Tim Cotter walking around the designations like he's a big deal, photobombing Ryan Villapoto when he's doing an interview, that was the cheesiest thing. Dude, move out of the way. There's an interview going on. Don't stand there and try and get your stupid fat head on camera. This is the same bully that was locking out a 13-year-old girl from Loretta's because her dad was arguing over a camping spot and whether they got a refund or not. This is that bully, that piece of crap. Do you remember in school when the teacher would leave and they'd put the nerd that kissed ass in charge, say, hey, write down names if anyone does anything wrong. And they would tattle, and they took that power and just ran with it. That's Tim Cotter to a T. This dude is just, he wants power so badly. And when, they give him that pencil to write down names, which is Coombs, that's Coombs, oh, go handle it, Tim. And he goes over and just completely abuses what little power he has. The guy's a real piece of crap. And seeing his fat head photobombing Ryan Villapoto just annoyed me. Oh, and speaking of refunds, get this. You can't make this stuff up. So they're arguing over a refund at Loretta's a couple years ago. I just found out Davey Coombs' boat. You're not going to believe this. The name of his boat says no refunds. Can't make this up. True story. Yeah, that's the people running the sport. No refunds. Jerks. I love the designations. I don't want to see it go away. But they have got to figure out a better schedule and stop squeezing these brands and riders for everything. They're diluting it. I don't want it diluted. I want this thing to be important. I want the whole motocross community to stop, because it only happens every 2 or 3 years, and pay attention and put a lot of that history, that stock, that prestige into it that they build it up as. But if you do it every single year, it loses a little bit every year. And if we keep doing it like this, it's going to thin out, and the riders are going to be like, yeah, we don't care. And it's not going to matter. And it would be a crying shame to have a race that is this fun and this important to the countries and to the fans, because they represent us. They're not representing Honda. They're representing us when they go to that event. And it feels good when your team does good. I don't want to lose that. So they need to just chill on overworking these guys. And let's put a little bit of stock into this one, because this race is really for us. Thank you guys. I appreciate everything, especially the members. You guys rock. And here's the member of the day.